Hi, Travel Time here, and today I'm taking you a bit more inland, to a city that's very different from the islands and seaside spots I usually cover. This time we're in Budapest, the capital of Hungary. Some call it the Pearl of the Danube, others the Paris of the East, and even the Spice of Europe. Whatever the nickname, this is one of those cities that stays with you long after you visit. So what makes Budapest so special? For me, it's the mix. You've got history and grand architecture on almost every corner, but also great food, a buzzing nightlife scene, relaxing thermal baths, wide green spaces, and even small towns nearby that are perfect for day trips. It's not just one highlight, it's the whole package that makes it unforgettable. When you first arrive, one of the things you'll probably notice is how the city is split in two by the Danube. On one side, you've got Buda, with its hills, castles, and viewpoints. On the other side is Pest, flat and lively, with boulevards, cafes, and markets. Put them together, and you get a perfect balance, quiet corners and big city energy all in one. And the good news is, getting around is simple. Budapest has a really good public transport system, with metro, trams, and buses covering the whole city. In this video, I'll walk you through my list of the top 20 things to see and do in Budapest. Some of them are seasonal, like the Christmas markets and the huge ice rink in winter. Others are more about slowing down and enjoying yourself, like spending a few hours at one of the historic baths. And a few will take you outside the city because sometimes the best way to understand a place is to also see what's around it. So whether you're planning your first trip or you've been here before and want to discover more, stick around. We'll count down from number 20 all the way to number 1, and by the end you'll have a solid plan for exploring the spice of Europe. Let's start the countdown at number 20 with the Budapest Zoo and Botanical Garden. This is one of the oldest zoos in the world, open since the 19th century, and it's right in the middle of the city next to City Park. Despite its rich history and unique charm, it doesn't always make the top lists, which is a shame because it's a fantastic place to spend a few hours. What makes it interesting is that it's not just about animals. You'll find historic buildings, Art Nouveau details, and even a botanical garden. It's more of a cultural and architectural experience mixed with nature. If you're traveling with kids, it's definitely a hit, but even as an adult, you'll appreciate the atmosphere. And the best part is that you can easily combine a visit here with other sites in City Park, like Heroes' Square or the famous Széchenyi baths, since they're all just a short walk away. Number 19 is the Chain Bridge, one of Budapest's most iconic landmarks. This suspension bridge connects Buda and Pest across the Danube, and it's been standing since 1849. Walking across it is almost like taking a step back in time. It really gives you a feel for the history and elegance of the city. What's great is that it's not just a photo spot. You can stroll across at any time of day, morning light, afternoon, or even at night when the bridge is beautifully lit. And from the middle of the bridge, you get fantastic views of both the Buda Castle on the hills and the bustling streets of Pest. Even if you're short on time, crossing the chain bridge is a must. It's a simple activity that instantly makes you feel like you're in Budapest. And if you're into photography, it's one of the best spots in the city to capture the Danube and its surroundings. At number 18, we have the Danube Promenade, along with the shoes on the Danube Bank Memorial. And yes, I'll also mention the river cruises here. The promenade is a great place to take a walk and soak in the views of Buda and Pest. You'll see historic buildings, cafes, and statues along the way. One spot that always stops people in their tracks is the shoes on the Danube Bank Memorial. It's a moving tribute to the lives lost during World War II, with iron shoes placed along the river's edge. Now, while some people just walk the promenade, it's also a perfect place to hop on a Danube river cruise. Even though cruises are common, seeing the city from the water gives a completely different perspective, especially if you're visiting at sunset or at night when the bridges and buildings are beautifully lit. The best part? All of this is easily accessible on foot if you're staying in the city center, and you can combine it with other nearby attractions like the Parliament or St. Stephen's Basilica for a full day of sightseeing. At number 17, we have the Dohány Street Synagogue, which is the largest synagogue in Europe and the second largest in the world. Even if you're not familiar with Jewish history, visiting here is impressive. The architecture is striking, with Moorish Revival style, beautiful arches, and intricate details that make it feel like a city within a city. Inside, you'll find the synagogue itself, the Hungarian Jewish Museum, and the Tree of Life Memorial, which honors the victims of the Holocaust. It's a place that's both grand and deeply moving. For anyone interested in history, architecture, or just learning more about Budapest's diverse culture, this site is a must-see, and it's all conveniently located in the heart of Pest, so you can combine it with nearby cafes or a stroll through the neighborhood. At number 16, we have the Hungarian State Opera House together with Andrassy Avenue. The Opera House is a masterpiece of neo-Renaissance design. Even if you don't have time to see a show, it's worth stopping by just to admire the building inside and out. Guided tours are available, and they give you a real taste of the city's cultural golden age. Andrassy Avenue, where the Opera House is located, is one of Budapest's grandest boulevards. Walking down this street feels a bit like stepping into Paris, with elegant townhouses, designer shops, and historic cafes. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and at the end of the avenue you'll find Heroes Square, one of the city's main landmarks. At number 15, we've got Gellért Hill and the Citadel. This spot is all about the views. The climb might take a bit of effort, but once you're at the top, you're rewarded with some of the best panoramic views of Budapest. The Danube, the bridges, the Parliament, and both Buda and Pest stretched out in front of you. The hill is named after Saint Gellért, whose statue you'll see on the way up. And at the very top, you'll find the Citadel, a fortress built in the 19th century. Even though the fortress itself isn't always open, the real highlight is the view. If you can, try to time your visit for sunset. Watching the city lights come on from up here is an unforgettable experience, and it's one of those moments where you really feel the magic of Budapest. At number 14, we have the New York Café, often called one of the most beautiful cafes in Europe, and some even say in the world. Now let's be honest, it's a bit of a tourist trap. The prices are higher than almost anywhere else in Budapest, and you'll probably have to wait in line before getting a table. It's not where locals come for their daily coffee, but once you step inside, it's hard not to be impressed. The place really does look like a palace, with marble columns, gold details, chandeliers, and painted ceilings. Order a coffee, maybe a slice of cake, and just take in the atmosphere. So yes, it's pricey and very popular with tourists, but at the same time, it's also one of the most stunning cafes you'll ever see. For most people, it's worth visiting at least once. At number 13, we've got Margaret Island, a peaceful green escape right in the middle of the Danube. If the busy streets of Budapest get overwhelming, this is where you can slow down. The island is car-free, and people come here to walk, jog, rent bikes, or just relax in the gardens. In summer, it's also a popular spot for open-air concerts and festivals. Some of the highlights include the medieval ruins, the small zoo, the musical fountain, and the water tower that sometimes hosts exhibitions. But honestly, the best thing here is the vibe. It feels like a park far away from the city. It's a great spot to recharge in between sightseeing, especially on a sunny day. At number 12, we have the Christmas markets, one of the best reasons to visit Budapest in winter. The most famous one is right in front of St. Stephen's Basilica, with lights, music, and dozens of stalls selling local food, mulled wine, and handmade gifts. There's also a large market on Vörös Marty Square, which has a cozy, traditional atmosphere. The markets usually run from late November until the end of December, and they turn the city into a festive wonderland. Even if you don't buy anything, just walking around, tasting some goulash or chimney cake, and soaking in the atmosphere is a memorable experience. But be aware, food and drinks here are definitely overpriced compared to regular Budapest prices. And if you're here in winter, you can also head to the City Park ice rink. It's one of the largest outdoor rinks in Europe, and skating here feels like stepping straight into a postcard. At number 11, we've got the Museums of Budapest. The city has a surprisingly wide variety of museums, so there's something for almost everyone. If you're into history, the Hungarian National Museum gives a great overview of the country's past. Art lovers will want to check out the Museum of Fine Arts on Heroes Square, while the Hungarian National Gallery inside Buda Castle showcases local masterpieces. There are also more niche options like the House of Terror Museum, which focuses on the darker chapters of the 20th century, or the quirky hospital in the Rock, built in a former wartime bunker under Buda Castle. Of course, you probably won't have time to see them all, but even visiting just one or two can give you a deeper understanding of the city beyond the usual landmarks. Think of it as a way to balance the sightseeing with a bit of culture and reflection. At number 10, we have the Hungarian Parliament building. Without question, one of the most iconic sites in all of Budapest. This massive neo-Gothic structure, completed in 1904, sits right on the banks of the Danube and has become the symbol of the city. With its spires, arches, and a central dome that rises almost 100 meters high, it looks especially stunning when illuminated at night or reflected in the river. It's the kind of building that instantly says, "This is Budapest." The parliament isn't just about appearances, though. It's home to Hungary's National Assembly and is one of the largest parliaments in the world. If you go inside on a guided tour, you'll see richly decorated chambers, grand staircases, and most famously, the Hungarian crown jewels, which are kept under heavy guard. Even if you don't go in, just standing outside in Kossuth Square and taking in the scale and detail of the architecture is an experience in itself. And from across the river, especially from the Buda side or on a Danube evening stroll, the parliament provides one of the most photographed views in Europe. At number 9, let's talk about day trips from Budapest. While the city itself is full of things to see and do, some of the most rewarding experiences come from stepping just outside. One of the most popular options is Szentendre, a small riverside town about 40 minutes away. It's famous for its colorful houses, cobblestone streets, art galleries, and museums. It's the kind of place where you can spend a relaxed day strolling, shopping for local crafts, and enjoying a meal in a quieter setting. If you're more into history and scenery, head to Visegrád. This former royal residence sits high above the Danube bend and offers spectacular views of the river valley. The medieval fortress here makes it feel like you've stepped back in time, and it's a favorite for hiking as well. Other options include Esztergom, with its massive basilica, the largest church in Hungary, or even Lake Balaton if you want a full-day getaway to Central Europe's biggest lake. All of these trips are easy to reach by train, bus, or even boat in the warmer months, and they give you a whole new perspective on Hungary beyond Budapest itself. At number 8, we have the Great Market Hall. It's the biggest indoor market in Budapest, and honestly, it's one of those places that's fun just to walk through, even if you don't buy anything. Downstairs, you'll see fresh produce, meats, spices, and yes, paprika everywhere. Upstairs, it's more about souvenirs and food stalls where you can try classics like goulash or langosh. Now, fair warning, it's busy, it's touristy, and prices are higher than what locals pay. But at the same time, it's colorful, lively, and a good way to get a taste of Hungarian flavors in one spot. Even if you only spend half an hour here, it's worth popping in, especially since it's right at the end of the main pedestrian street, so you can easily fit it into your sightseeing route. At number 7, we've got St. Stephen's Basilica, probably the most famous church in Budapest. From the outside, the huge dome is hard to miss, and inside it's just as impressive. Marble, gold details, and beautiful artwork everywhere. The church is named after Hungary's first king, St. Stephen, and they actually keep his mummified right hand here as a relic, which is pretty unusual to see. The highlight, though, is climbing up to the viewing platform at the top of the dome. The 360-degree view over the city, you can spot Parliament, the Danube, and even the Buda Hills in the distance. Sunset is the best time to go if you can. The square in front of the Basilica is also a nice hangout spot, full of cafes and restaurants, and in winter it hosts one of Budapest's most charming Christmas markets. So whether you go inside, climb up for the view, or just enjoy the atmosphere outside, this place definitely deserves a spot on the list. At number 6, we've got Heroes Square, one of Budapest's most important landmarks and a symbol of Hungary's history. The square is dominated by the Millennium Monument, with a tall column topped by Archangel Gabriel and statues of Hungary's most significant leaders and historical figures arranged around it. It was built at the end of the 19th century to celebrate 1,000 years of Hungarian statehood. This is more than just a photo stop. It's a place where you can really feel the weight of history. National events and celebrations often take place here, and it's recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The best part is its location. Heroes Square stands right at the entrance to City Park, with the Museum of Fine Arts on one side and the Kunsthalle, Hall of Art, on the other. So it's a perfect starting point before exploring the park, Vajdahunyad Castle, or even the famous Széchenyi baths. At number 5, we have Budapest's ruin bars and nightlife. The most famous ruin bar is Simpla Kert, the original ruin bar that started it all. What makes these places unique is that they're set in abandoned buildings or courtyards, decorated with mismatched furniture, quirky art, and just about anything you can imagine. It feels more like walking into an art installation than a traditional bar. These spots aren't just for drinking. They often have live music, DJs, film screenings, or even farmers markets during the day. And while Simpla is the most iconic, there are plenty of others spread around the Jewish quarter, each with its own vibe. The ruin bars are right in the Jewish quarter, which also happens to be one of the best places in the city for food on the go. Just around the corner from Simpla is Karaván Street Food Court, a small alley lined with food trucks where you can grab everything from langosh and goulash to burgers and vegan options. It's a perfect pre-party stop or a late-night snack after the bars. Budapest's nightlife in general is diverse. You can go from craft beer pubs to rooftop bars overlooking the Danube. At number 4, we've got the Buda Castle, sitting right on top of Castle Hill with some of the best views in the city. The castle area is big. You can walk through courtyards, enjoy the fountains, and just take in the panorama over the Parliament and the Danube. Even if you don't step inside any of the museums, the grounds alone make it worth the visit. To get up there, you can either walk, it's not too bad, or take the funicular. It's a short ride, a little pricey for how quick it is, but it's one of those fun, touristy things you probably want to do once. Most people come here for the views and the atmosphere, and honestly, that's the main highlight. Spend some time just wandering around, and you'll see why the castle is one of Budapest's top spots. At number 3, we've got the thermal baths. Budapest is famous for them, and honestly, going to at least one is kind of a must. There are several around the city: Széchenyi, Gellért, Rudas, and a few more. Each has its own style, but the idea is the same. Warm mineral water, outdoor and indoor pools, and a place where you can just slow down for a few hours. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, you'll get the experience either way. Some are bigger, some are prettier, but they're all about relaxing. And after a lot of walking around the city, it really feels great. It's one of those things that makes Budapest stand out compared to other European capitals. At number 2, we've got the Fisherman's Bastion and Matthias Church. They're right next to each other on Castle Hill. This is one of the most photographed spots in the whole city. The church is beautiful inside and out, with its colorful roof tiles and tall spire. And then just a few steps away, the Fisherman's Bastion looks like something straight out of a fairy tale, with its towers and terraces overlooking the Danube. The views from here are amazing. You can see the Parliament, the bridges, and the whole Pest side laid out in front of you. It's the kind of place where you'll probably end up staying longer than you planned, just soaking it all in. It can get crowded, especially around sunset, but even then it's worth it. The whole area is compact, easy to combine with a visit to Buda Castle, and once you're done exploring, there are a couple of really good pastry shops and cafes nearby, where you can sit down, relax, and enjoy something sweet with the view. And finally, at number 1, we've got Vajdahunyad Castle and City Park. This place really feels like stepping into a fairy tale. The castle looks medieval, but it was actually built in the late 1800s for a big exhibition. What makes it special is that it mixes a bunch of different architectural styles. So when you walk around, one corner feels Gothic, another looks like a Renaissance palace, and then suddenly you've got Baroque details. It's like a crash course in European architecture all in one building. The castle sits right in the middle of City Park, which is huge and full of things to do. In winter, the lake in front of the castle turns into one of the largest outdoor ice skating rinks in Europe. In summer, you can rent a boat and paddle around instead. It's also where you'll find the Budapest Zoo, Széchenyi baths, and plenty of quiet corners if you just want a break from the city. A lot of tourists skip Vajdahunyad because it's a little outside the very center, but honestly, it's one of the most atmospheric spots in Budapest. Between the castle, the park, and everything around it, you could easily spend half a day here and not run out of things to see and do. If I had to pick one place that shows off Budapest's charm, this would be it. And that's my list of the top things to see and do in Budapest. It's a city that's got a little bit of everything: history, amazing architecture, relaxing baths, great food, and a nightlife. You can spend a week here and still feel like there's more to discover. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to Travel Time for more guides like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.